James Bond with Tina Turner and Ike. You could have backed up for it, couldn't you?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit political. Oh, naughty boy. Right, here we are again. Number 3, yes, in a series of 3, thank goodness. And of course, I have my lovely Winsett container. No, my mother's Winsett container. Oh, and we're back with Bond. And of course, last show we ended with GoldenEye, a complete change of pace.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
And we come on now, and these get sillier and sillier. This one isn't so silly,
It's not
I
so silly,
think.
this one.
But this was called Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Now, what is your memory of Tomorrow Never Dies?
Well, it's very much a 90s thing, because obviously by now you've got the internet, media moguls. There's lots of media moguls around, and of course the villain in this is Jonathan Pryce as a media tycoon who is basically manipulating the world's news and causing people...
I wonder where they got that idea from.
I mean, really, I wonder. But, you know, I like it. It's not one of my best, but I do like it. Michelle Yeoh is a brilliant Bond girl, if I can still use that term, but she was really great in that. She's gone on to do other things like in Star Trek and stuff. Yeah. But she's great. She's on the motorbike, and there's a really good again set piece in is it Shanghai? There's somewhere, and it's a kind of shanty-towny type place, and it's just brilliant on the motorbikes and stuff. And yeah, there's Terry Hatcher as well, who was playing Lois Lane to Dean Cain. Dean Cain's Superman.
Yeah.
I should Coco.
Oh.
Yep. Beat me, call me Bueller again.
But anyway, I got distracted there. So yes, Terry Hatcher plays. This is where we're in that era where there seems to be 2 Bond girls. One is usually on the villain side, but who's kind of trying to do good, and then she ends up getting deaded, and of course Terry Hatcher in this gets deaded. And then there's the other girl who's Michelle Yeoh in this one, who's also an agent for her country, and they just bond together, no pun intended.
No.
But yeah, I think it's a great film. Again, not one of my favourites.
Well, no, Jonathan Pryce does camp it up.
Oh, he really does.
And everything is, I remember the character where he said, "Oh, how delicious." He would say things like that.
Oh, he relishes it, you know,
he
relishes really go for it.
It was an okay one for me, full of jokes. He got a bit silly. Of course, the mainstays are there. Lovely, Judy's back as M. Desmond Llewellyn is still there.
He's still there, Desmond.
Is this the one where R's brought in?
No,
that's the one after. We'll come to that. That's another bit of silliness. And of course the wonderful lady who replaced Les Maxwell and all that before.
Yes,
and I can't remember her name.
Samantha Bond is still
Samantha Bond is in that one. There's another one after that as well, which is just as much later. Yeah. But yes, as cutting as always. Yeah. And I love all that because you can see that side of Bond by Brosnan, who are actually having to really, on these occasions, from these really quite strong, witty women, taking it on the chin, you know.
As it were.
Yes, I wouldn't mind taking it on the chin.
You're still the twin.
On the chin, on the wing. Can't bloody speak now.
Filthy.
Oh, Miss Money Spider. But yeah, I mean, it's again we've come into that territory now of there's lots of media and internet and stuff like that. So the Bond films are up to date. They are beginning to get, the silliness is creeping in again, and it's fun. But again, it's not one of my favourites. I think by this point I was still going to see them in the cinema, and I loved Pierce Brosnan because he seemed to be a bit of a fusion of the seriousness of Sean, the kind of light touch of Roger, and then obviously there's the grittiness.
Well, I actually have a feeling in my own personal estimation of it, which is only an assumption, one should never make assumptions, that he was relishing the part because he was being paid so much money to do it.
By this point.
I mean, we're talking about mega bucks.
Oh, yeah.
You can forget your million and 0.18 foot done as are forever for Sean, and your million for and there was dollars
Yeah.
for the Taylor and Cleopatra. But this time we're talking about
We're talking megabucks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why the Bond franchise continued its success, because they threw money at it. You can tell.
You can tell, yeah.
Yeah, it really is quite a hoot watching these. Tomorrow Never Dies, I didn't take to Jonathan Pryce's character.
No.
I thought it was too, shall I say, master-like.
Oh, yes.
And that's another story.
Yes.
Although the premise, the idea of it, I thought was clever because it purely was, from the Murdoch situation taking over the world by media. And that was a clever, and certainly as media got so big, internet and all that, even in from Q branch with Q and all that, everything was computerized and everything was unbelievable, all touch.
There was the car as well, wasn't there? Because he was operating the car from the back seat because he was making a quick getaway out of the multi-story or somewhere, and he's got the car that's talking to him, and he's controlling it from the back seat, and he's trying to get away.
And there was no tarted up, what do you call those console things, PlayStation things?
Yeah.
It was, a nice slick piece of kit and all that. And it was going around, whizzing around like no one's business with him in the back seat.
Yeah, it was great. That was a great Bond moment, I loved them. This point of Bond. I'm just going to say overall, I prefer this period to the next period, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it got for me. We then get on, for some unknown reason, there seems to be, certainly in the Brosnan and slightly later in the next chap, Di keeps on coming into nearly every single title.
Yeah, it does.
And I think, can you thought of something else? We didn't have the books to rely on. A View to a Kill was a lovely title for it, but they got, just really quite bland. And the next one is Die Another Day.
No,
not Die.
The World Is Not Enough. World, there's no die in that one.
You had Tomorrow Never Dies, and then you get The World Is Up. Really boring title.
Yeah, the titles are getting really dull.
After that was Die Another Day, it beamed at the die, but The World Is Not Enough. Robert Carlyle, of course, came to fame in The Full Monty when he stripped off, and I always thought,
Robert Carlyle, it was pretty hot.
Wonderful actor.
And he was in Trainspotting, he was completely bonkers in that, wasn't he?
Well, they were all on something, but I think even the director was on something when they were making it.
Mushroom or something.
Tomorrow, The World Is Not Enough. Tomorrow, you do get, this is where I get confused over the Brosnan, because they all bland titles and they don't really perch in my brain.
These perches.
The World Is Not Enough. Well?
You see, The World Is Not Enough is, it's a good film for M, because there is a kidnap
they broaden
situation.
out and apart. They take her out of office.
And it's about time, because they know Judi Dench should be doing more, instead of just sitting in MI5. MI6 rather. Not MFI, that's a furniture place. The MI6 on the South Bank or wherever it was. They got her out, and she's on an adventure. And it's basically this lady was kidnapped. What was her name? She was kidnapped, but then they've got the whole Stockholm Syndrome thing where she's become close with Robert Carlyle, the kidnapper, and she turns out to be absolutely, she's
psychotic.
Yeah, she's completely psychotic, and but she's really good.
And there's if I remember right, there's a rather raunchy sex scene in that,
which very raunchy.
And I think by this time the British Board of Certification had decided, well, it's in everything these days, so Bond is not.
Times have moved on,
and you see it in all sorts.
And people have become desensitised to the sex, the violence, and it's all in there now as a kind of given.
Because of games and things like that, even on broadcast television and all that. So what's the point? Censor, as it was called, the British Board of Film Censors. Why censor something which really, they're censoring things like the Hammer horror films and all back in the day. Absolutely ridiculous. They were just fantasies. Ridiculous. You get a bit of Kensington gore on somebody's gob, you might expose a bit of somebody's right boob, you know, that's all
Ingrid
right.
Pitt with
But
her.
in this one,
Yeah, that's
I
right,
remember that
Ingrid.
particular sex scene, and I mean, because I always go and watch a Bond in the cinema. That's the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time
Oh,
always
totally.
have to see it in the cinema.
Totally.
And I watched this particular raunchy bit of stuff going on, and I think, is he on the phone? Is it M on the phone or somebody's on the phone?
You always were a cunning linguist.
That's Moneypenny.
Oh, that's Moneypenny,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Oh,
good
yeah.
line.
Well,
Yeah,
there you
that,
go.
one of the quip. But I thought, gosh, this is a bit much, isn't it? And it really was. It was
Yeah.
almost pornographic.
Yeah, but I quite like
You
it.
know, you quite liked it, didn't you?
No, I mean, it's, to be honest, it's like, if you're going to do it, just go for it. I don't want Bond to be softened, and I want him to be the hardened
Well,
agent
you
that he
are.
is, you know, and I just, we'll come on to
definitely
this later, I just don't want him to be changed
Yeah.
too fundamentally, and I think they got the balance just about right with Pierce Brosnan. And I think in this one,
well, yeah, as you say, times have changed.
times have
You know.
changed, and you can't. Yeah, you've got to move with the times. So, such a long-running franchise, there has to be development, not just in the character as such. Although I want the characters to have basic principles remain the same, but there has to be, you know, the better effects. There has to be the big set pieces, which by now the set pieces and sex pieces
Sex
are all
pieces,
very
yeah,
much
I like
integral
them.
to the films.
Yeah,
People want them. People expect them.
yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, I mean, it was because the technology had changed so much in film. It was unfortunate. It was about this time that they started going more into CGI. And blue screen.
We'll get onto that in the next one.
I mean, mine day the BBC it was blue screen, chroma key.
Chroma key, yeah.
It's all now green or yellow screen.
Yeah,
isn't it?
they used to use yellow, didn't they?
Yeah.
People used to look like the Ready Brek Kid. There was always this glow around. You know,
Yeah,
the early days of
I've still
chroma
got
key.
it. Look.
Very good.
Robbie Coltrane, of course, comes back because he was in GoldenEye. He comes back in this one, but yeah,
wonderful
he gets
character.
deaded. But he does say Bond's bacon. You think he's going to shoot Bond while he's tied to that metal chair, but no, he actually shoots one of the. Bond says one final screw, and he's like,
Ooh,
and then he helps
please.
Bond beyond the grave to get free of his bonds and deal with Elektra.
Bonds.
Elektra.
Yeah. It's all filth with you, isn't it?
It's
Filth.
filth.
Not always.
You're just
Yeah,
squashed
you
in.
just said the word screw. What you're like in B&Q is beyond me.
Oh.
I can
Oh,
tell.
better in
it,
IKEA.
it wasn't, for me, this particular film was not at its best.
No.
But it had some really good parts, and that's what
Yeah.
you've got to take
Yeah.
each Bond by its head. You've got good ones and bad ones, not particularly likeable ones, but they're all
Yeah.
likeable. Oh no, I like them all,
Yeah.
but there's ones on that pecking order
Yeah.
I say, well, it'll be a long time until I watch that
Yeah,
again.
this is one of those
You
ones.
know, and that's one of those
Yeah,
ones.
Robert Carlyle. He's a very Bond villain because he got shot. The bullet didn't kill him, but it lodged.
And they couldn't get it
He
out,
doesn't
and
feel
that's
pain.
why he doesn't feel any pain at all.
So that's a very Bond villain.
But he
type
does,
thing.
you know, he does. I mean, I don't think he feels pain when he's killed off at the end.
I don't think he feels it. I didn't feel it. I was sitting there thinking, okay, this is kind of washing over me. And of course, we've got the girl in it who's not great, Christmas Jones. So we've got the obvious joke at the end. I thought Christmas only came once a year. She was supposed to be a mega scientist. Didn't quite work.
Well, who eludes me, the lady that does all the casting for Bond, Debbie Williams. She does all the casting for Bonds. Probably.
You watching?
Yeah. And I think she must have had a bad day on that one.
Yeah, it wasn't. There's a lot of misfires in this one.
Well, the fact is also that I think it is whatever the casting department do, they know what they want.
Yeah.
And if that person doesn't particularly want, I mean, which is, I would love to be in a Bond film, you know, even if it's walk on.
Yeah. But there's one thing we must mention. It's the last film to feature Desmond Llewellyn as Q.
And who else to be introduced?
R, who then becomes Q, as John Cleese becomes Q in the next one. So yeah, John Cleese.
And
Silliness gets ramped up to
Isn't that the one where he picks up a baguette. Bond picks up a baguette and said, and he said, "What is that?" He said,
"That's my
"That's
lunch."
my lunch."
Yeah, because he thinks obviously all these gadgets are disguised as everyday objects,
Yeah,
but no,
always
this
have it.
really is my lunch. It's not a gadget. It's not a bomb. It's not a missile.
But in the Brosnan films, you're always having a tour around
Oh, yeah,
Cuba,
that
and
becomes
that's
a
some
thing.
really funny
I liked
things.
those
All
little
these
moments.
things blowing
Yeah.
up and people getting stuck in
Yeah,
phone boxes.
and it provides a nice continuity because obviously Q Branch has been in it throughout the years and Desmond Llewellyn. So yeah, basically there's a nice through line, but of course this is quite poignant because it is Desmond Llewellyn's last one.
Who unfortunately lived up the road and in his 80s, bless him. He was also in Polyfoot, things like that. One of my favourite. I love the music.
Yeah.
He
Roll,
was
roll
killed.
the lightning tree, it's never too late for you and me.
But no, he was killed in a car accident, coming back from a do and all of that. A great loss to, I think, Bond.
Oh, totally. He was
And I
brilliant,
think
wasn't he?
even in the days of today, I think all of us who are Bond fanatics, I would put myself down as, is the fact that when John Cleese came in, good idea for a one-off, because the film wasn't all that great, but in a moment we're going to come to that. So, we'll be back in a moment. Here we are back, part 2 of part 3 of this wonderful, wonderful trip down memory lane for all of us. We're Bond. We're now coming, to Pierce Brosnan's last one, which, on estimation to me, has to be the most ridiculous load of old codswallop I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Up to that
It's
point.
really daft.
The CGI in it is terrible.
It's bad beyond belief.
You know, it's
The
all
wave.
set in an ice palace,
Yeah,
isn't it?
the wave, the CGI wave when he's riding it, it's like, what the hell has happened here?
You know.
It's almost like they just got all very drunk and decided, let's just throw everything into this.
Well, it reminded me of, there's a scene in Live and Let Die when Bond comes in on one of those skydive things, and you can tell it's in the because he's flapping up and down like that. It's got no wind in it. On this one, it's CGI, and he looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just...
It's so badly done.
Yeah.
It's so badly done. I mean, isn't Madonna in this?
Madonna does a cameo, she's a kind of fencing
And she does
instructor.
the music.
And she does the theme tune, which
Which
is
was
not... Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
first
not
time I've said that about a Bond thing,
Yeah.
it is dreadful.
Yeah.
She should have stuck at playing Evita,
Yeah.
which I thought she was very good in.
Yes.
Right, Vita.
Evita. Yeah.
Evita.
I mean, as I say, I always go to see every Bond film in the cinema. Out of, as we said, you know, in the fag break, my fag break, sorry, out of loyalty, I think. You've got to see it once on the big screen.
Yeah. If you're
But
invested
this
in a
one,
franchise.
I wish I hadn't bothered.
Yeah.
And strange enough, when it was released on DVD, it hardly sold. And you could actually get, that was the only Bond you could get in the pound shop for £1. I think they would even mark down to 50p.
Yeah.
It was dire.
It was,
It had Q Bright, it had What's It Back as
John Cleese as
John
Q.
Cleese. Really.
Because I think there's a funny line in it where he says, or maybe he said it in the last one, he says to, Bond says to Q, "You're cleverer than you look." And then Q says, "Well, it's better than being clever than you are, looking cleverer than you are," which I thought was a nice little quip. But that was about all.
But in this one, there's an invisible car.
Invisible car. It's like, seriously, we've gone into different realms here. You know.
And they do the normal Q branch thing, but it's in an underground station, isn't it? And this beautiful car, I don't know if it was an Aston Martin, whatever it was, is there. And Q goes, you know, John Cleese goes like that, and it just disappears. And they give some stupid stealth thing.
It's
you
just
know,
really dark.
where you see stealth bombers don't disappear.
Yeah.
They actually can be not tracked on radar, etc., because of the whatever covering they've got. This is just, you know, I said, where's the Invisible Man?
It's silliness. And the Ice Palace, and the villain in it was an Asian guy, but then he becomes a white guy. He's not the one with the diamonds. I liked the the guy with diamonds in his cheeks, I thought that was a very Bond thing.
Oh yeah,
he
yeah.
gets caught in the explosion at the beginning, and there's all these diamonds that
And they get
in
stuck there.
his face, and that's very
Mind
Bond.
you, probably like the idea,
Yeah.
you know, because diamonds are forever.
Yeah.
He had them all up. And I have to say, you know, when he's taken his diamonds, I've seen him without the diamonds in, of course, and of course in the film, but I said, well, he's a very nice looking chap too. A lot of the Bond villains, you know,
Toby Stevens is in this. Yeah.
Toby Stevens is the baddie.
And the thing about this film, there's a really the beginning, the opening sequence, which is very long, because by this point the opening sequences are amazingly long, almost like mini films themselves. It's very brutal because Bond's been abducted, kidnapped, whatever, and he's being held somewhere, and they're giving him water torture, and it's a really brutal film opening, and you're thinking this is setting you up for a brutal film, and of course
it ends up being like Carry On Bond.
Yeah, it goes from
although Carry On Spine was probably better.
It goes from almost like something really dark to something like a Carry On. It's like Schindler's List to Carry On Camping.
Yeah.
If I can do an analogy. Thanks.
Yeah. Being, of course, a concentration camp on a very, very wet afternoon in November.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
Pinewood. Yeah. To me, it was awful.
Oh yeah.
It was so awful. It was funny.
Oh, it's watchable.
It's a comedic.
It's watchable. I never get bored with it. I mean, it's fun. It's not one of the ones I will watch again and again because it's just too absurd. I can handle absurd in Bond, but this goes beyond absurd, I think.
And of course, Toby Stevens, who is the baddie in it. I mean, his dad was Robert Stevens, and Mum, of course, Dame Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith, yeah.
And they both met on the Prime Minister in Brody, and both of them, God bless their souls now. I mean, he plays it quite well, as far as I'm concerned. I like using the word quite, but I will say this occasion quite well. But it was so daft. The bit at the end went on and on when this aircraft, you know what happens to aircraft, big transport planes or whatever it was, a 747, whatever it was, is absolutely and it's on fire, and it goes on and on and on. In the end, not to give you any spoilers, he gets sucked into the engine. And I thought, thank Christ for that, you know. And then the film still went on. You had the debacle of losing the villain, but it went on even more. Yeah. So much so, you completely forgot what was going on. You know, they should have ended it there.
Yeah.
You know, it was daft.
Yeah, it's a shame because I do like Pierce Brosnan, and I like, as I say, I think his best one, in my opinion, was this first one.
Agreed.
Totally brilliant film. It's right up there with the best Bonds, GoldenEye.
Yeah.
But the other three, the middle two, I can take or leave. There's bits that I like about them. I think Tomorrow Never Dies probably is my second favourite. It's like diminishing returns because then we've got The World Is Not Enough, and then we get To Die Another Day, which I think just leaves me a bit. Really.
Yeah. And I think it was at that time, I think Brosnan had thought, had enough of this.
Yeah, he's off.
He said,
he's off to that Greek island to sing.
And to do all sorts of
He's
other
done
things.
loads of
You know?
things,
right.
I mean, he was making other films when he was Bond, anyway. Including Downfire, I think. He was making all that stuff. So he was brilliant. So he made a few bob. Good for him. Yeah. But I think he made I think he'd actually said to me at the start of Die Another Day, he said, no more.
No more.
Because he probably read the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Let's move on from Die Another Day,
Yes.
because unfortunately I think that, apart from one other in my estimation, will come a bit later, is the fact that it was the lowest on my pecking order, certainly from Brosnan and probably for the whole of the franchise up to now.
Sure.
Of course then, another change occurs.
Yeah. Mini gap, 3 years, 4 years.
3 years, yeah. Another change occurs, and you think, oh, goodness me, what are they going to bring back? So they go back to the Bond books.
Yes.
Because before, the first Bond was made as a television program in America called Casino Royale, with Barry Nelson and Peter Lorre for part of, because they're selling soap packets, and he played Jimmy Bond in that. It's about an hour long. It's 48 minutes long actually. I watched it. It's awful.
I wouldn't mind seeing it.
A bank of 23 million francs. 9 at the table. Baccarat.
And not only that, in 1967, because it had never been made in the Eon stable, it was made, but this time as a spoof, and you've got about 8, 9 James Bonds in it.
Including...
So James Bond, at the start, is played by David Niven, who turned the part down many years previous. It's also got in it, you know, wonderful character actors. You name it, they're in it.
Yeah.
My only, because I spoke to her before she died about it, my only love of it, apart the music's a bit daft, it's all very psychedelia and all, it's a bit Barbarella, What's New Pussycat type thing, and it's got Ronnie Court. You know, everyone seems to pop up in it, you know.
Ursula Andress.
Ursula Andress is in playing James Bond. You've got so many, male and female, they're all like it. It's a wash with 007. But of course, my lovely late friend and the third most accredited woman in film and television in the world since the instigation of the moving image, Rennie Glynn was a script supervisor on it. It had 4 directors.
Wow, what does that tell you? A clash of interests.
And that's why it's so fragmented. It had a wonderful cast, don't get me wrong, and Peter Sellers plays it quite straight and stuff. It's even got Orson Welles playing
it's a curio.
But they did not get on, and all the scenes when you see Bond and the chief in the casino were totally filmed separately, because Orson Welles couldn't stand Peter Sellers couldn't stand Orson Welles.
Nothing like a bit of friction on set.
But it's a camp old romp. It really is. The music, you know, the one thing, of course, it hasn't got the Bond theme. It's
it's really, really dark.
It is of its time. It is purely pop art.
That's
what it is. It's pop art for, you know, if anyone was thinking they were going to get a Casino Royale that was anything to do with the book. Yes, it had a slight thing, but it ended up with Woody Allen with an atomic bomb at the end and a great big spaceship landing in Trafalgar Square. It was really wonderful. And I do enjoy watching it, only to see, I thought, my lovely friend Renee's credit on it, and I said, Renee, I've just seen Casino Royale again, and she said, oh, what did you do? And I said, I was really disappointed. She said, why were you disappointed? And I said, you don't get a credit on it. She said, didn't I? He was furious. You know, because she was the instigator throughout. Imagine 4 different directors.
That would not happen now.
Well, no, but back in the set, you've got very short title sequences. Apart from Bond, that used to have quite long title sequences. The Bond title sequences at the end now go on for about half the film. But of course, then Casino Royale, being that spoof version, came back, and what happened? They left it a long time to choose a new Bond. They wanted to take away the humour of it. They wanted to instigate more of Fleming's style as the books. So they decided the only thing we can do is do Casino Royale. And of course, the look for Bond, like in Casino Royale, the film, the look of love. See what I did there?
Very good.
From a mile off.
Please yourselves. The look for Bond was quite a thing, and they thought of many different people, and then out of the blue, unbeknownst and to the shock, including me, and I think the world of James Bond fans, who did they cast?
A blonde Bond, Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, who is not the most handsome man.
He's rugged.
But he's rugged.
He's got that real ruggedness.
He's got that.
There is a brutal look to him. He looks like a man who really could kick your ass. Pardon my French. Unlike, I don't
Well, speaking French, I don't know.
Maybe Sean, definitely George, not Roger, or but Daniel Craig looks like a man with a tough job, a tough past.
But actually, when he did Bond, his hair wasn't blonde. If you look at it, it was more a sort of darker, browny thing. I mean, we must have had a rinse.
Must have had a rinse just like yours. You've been to the same hairdresser, haven't you?
Yeah.
But you know, I love this film. This is probably my second favourite of his. We'll get on to probably the same favourite that we have. But they took it right back to his origins. How did he become a 00 agent? He had to do 2 kills. Who did they retain from the original, from the last lot of films? Thank goodness they brought Judi Dench over into. Obviously, continuity's always been a bit shaky in James Bond, so don't worry about the continuity.
Well, you don't have to. You know.
We don't have to worry about that.
It's like that other program. You don't have to worry.
We've got
about
Judi Dench. She's M, and that's great, and it provides a nice continuity.
And a new money spider.
We've got a new money spider, and we've also got. We haven't got Q yet. No, Q's yet to appear. So, and also we haven't got M money spider yet. She doesn't come in
she
until
comes in
the
a bit
third
later.
one.
Oh, yeah.
So they start to introduce these elements, and what's missing also is the gun barrel sequence, which is the first time ever we don't get that.
Which is, I think, awful.
Yeah. It gets introduced again. I think they had a plan.
Don't they do it at the end?
Yeah, well they had a no, they don't. They do it at the end of his third one.
Oh.
We have to wait till the third one for all those familiar tropes to come back, Daniel Craig style.
Well, it's like remastering something, I suppose.
Yeah, they took it right back, and they didn't just do it in one film. They took it back for several films to continue this. And he's got. Everyone has this now. An arc over the 5 that he did. But that. There is an arc, so you can watch these 5 as a contained thing. You know, whether you like them or not. I mean, as I say, I'm not. We'll come to that. But yeah, I like Casino Royale. I certainly like it better than the spoof. It's brutal. There's the scene where he's getting his balls
which is in the book.
Yeah, and that's really brutal.
Really is.
All the men watching it, not you, dear, but grimacing, thinking, "Oh my God, that's going to hurt."
I think I will.
Yeah, and not only that, they should actually, because he's very well. I can't remember the actor's name. Is it about? They'll come to me. Actually, knocks the basket bit of the chair out, so the knotted rope that he slams up. Literally, it is quite fun. I think, didn't this actually go for a higher certification? I can't remember.
I would imagine it did, but at the same time, again, we've jumped forward and people are even more desensitised to violence now, even more so than back in GoldenEye or back in License to Kill or whatever. Time's moved on, it's more brutal, it's more tougher. There is a really good sequence in this film as well. The parkour, is this one where they have the parkour running sequence at the beginning? There's I think it is the first one with Daniel Craig. The opening sequence is brilliant. It's like parkour had become a new sport, and Daniel Craig, I presume it's him doing the running, and the villain or whoever.
He likes to keep fit.
Yeah, but and there's that scene, of course, Daniel Craig coming out of the water, which echoes Ursula Andress back in '62.
And he didn't have his shells with him, did he?
Well, you could see his
conchas.
His conchas, but
absolutely,
that's an iconic scene, which is a nice kind of, let's flip it around. And
the title sequences, of course, by this time are really complicated to watch. Beautifully done, but of course, as with Roger Moore. More so, I think, than Dalton and Brosnan. I can't remember those titles because all that period watches over me. Is Daniel Craig appears in all of the title sequences.
Yeah.
Whether it be a sort of cartoon element and all that. So yeah, Casino Royale is a thumbs up from me.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's a great start to his era. Yeah. Definitely.
And just very briefly, because I only want to spend literally about 2 minutes on it, is Daniel Craig's next film, which in my estimation goes along with Die Another Day, and it was a title given from some notes that Ian Fleming had written, and they just found in his handwritten note the words Quantum of Solace, which is a lovely title.
Yeah.
But tell me, what do you think about that? Because I can tell you what I thought about it.
Yeah, you see, it kind of leaves me cold. I think watching it back to back with Casino Royale, that's how that should be seen, because I think obviously they could have just released it as one big film, because obviously he goes on a kind of revenge hunt for the death of Vesper Glynn in Casino Royale. It's the shortest Bond, again visually stunning, lots of lovely locations, but I just it just leaves me cold.
Well, same here, and of course for me, I always loved the richness of Technicolor and all that, and they had, most of them, the colour was, in this particular I found the whole of the photography of it was bland. All of it was shot in some sort of pastel grading of the film stock.
Yeah.
To me, the music wasn't, for me, the whole of it, I didn't understand what was going on, but thankfully, as we say, and that's why we made this particular bit short, it is possibly, with Dying on the equal footing, the worst Bond films ever made. Would you agree?
I would say yes. It's probably bottom of my list. I mean, I used to think the same about Octopussy, but I like that now because it's got everything I like about Bond. I would say Quantum of Solace is probably my least favourite out of them all.
And for you?
And what does it mean?
The Quantum of Solace.
Does it mean taking a bit of time out, quiet time? Yeah.
Oh, right.
I'm taking a little bit of time out from my schedule.
I think maybe that one would be...
Yeah, that's why they probably cut it down from 3 hours to 2 hours and a half.
Yeah.
Right, so on that note, we'll be back in a moment. And welcome back. Yes, here we are in our long running 3-part special of Bond, James Bond. And we come to, for me, out of all of the later films, certainly from Dalton onwards, my favourite ever Bond film has to be, and it's a sad one too, for me, and I think all the fans out there. Of course, we're talking about Skyfall.
Yes.
And the only Bond film theme to ever win an Oscar, with Adele, who wrote it, and her mum lives near you in Port Slade.
Yes, she does. She pops around for tea occasionally.
Well, used to pop into Morrison Jack's too when I was down there all those years ago with Adele. But she wasn't all that well known then.
No, she wasn't.
It was just a show.
She could
I
walk around everywhere.
loved it. Every minute, everything about it was right.
Because it celebrates 50 years of also the Bond films, because it was in 2012, so it's got everything in there. It's everything that Quantum of Solace wasn't, you know. It's brought back the fun. It's got Q, because he starts in this one as well. He's a real kind of geeky, nerdy guy.
The beautiful Ben
Whishaw, yeah.
Ben Whishaw, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I have to say yes.
And of course Miss Moneypenny, as played by what's her name?
I can't remember.
Naomi Harrison.
That's probably
Naomi
right.
Harrison.
Betty Swan.
And Betty Swan. And we've got, of course, Judi Dench as M for the very last time.
And M gets into a bit of trouble in this, doesn't she?
M, her story is brilliant in this. She has a very strong story.
It's really not a James Bond film, it's an
It's
M
M film, yeah.
Yeah.
And they go on the run, or trying to lure the villains into Scotland, of course, which is where Bond is from, and the house that he was brought up in. So there's a real sense of connection with the history of the character, celebrating 50 years of the films, but also just the character itself. I think Daniel Craig is at his best in this one.
Absolutely.
The location work is amazing. We've got Andrew, who's in, what's his name, from Sherlock. He's a big, he does a lot now, but he's one of the politicians, one of the people who work in MI6. But it turns out he's on the side of the baddies, and throughout all of the Bond, the Daniel Craig films, we're setting up Spectre, which is the villainous organisation behind all these other villains, like Lashif, and the other one from Quantum of Solace. I can't remember his name. It just goes to show how little I care for that film. But this one, we see the Bond villain in this is great. He's very camp, but not too camp. There's also a scene of homoeroticism where Bond is tied to the chair, and the villain is playing the gun around his areas, and he says, "Oh, first time, is it?" And he says, and Bond says, "What makes you think this is my first time?" And it's like, okay. There's lots of moments in the film which are really
What's the moment?
yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say no, I don't know about you.
Absolutely.
I loved everything about it. The title sequence is brilliant.
And the theme.
I actually saw the title sequence without the titles, with the credits on them, which was only on for about 5 minutes and they took it down. Luckily I didn't record it, unfortunately, but it was nice to see it as a piece of art, because these things are a piece of art. The music is superb in it. Adele did such a good job because she wrote it. She said it took about 3 weeks to write, and it always fascinates me how they always seem to be able to utilise the theme music, which is really done quite at the last moment, to utilise it all in the actual incidental music. But everything about this film, I mean the sequence on the underground.
Oh, the underground with the train bursting through. Oh yeah, I mean it's yeah. And that's the thing also, there's a lot of stuff in London because it's like, well, so it should be, it's like we're celebrating 50 years of Bond. He goes to Scotland obviously, but there's also a huge amount of location work in London because obviously we've had all these locations, glamorous locations.
They basically brought it back home.
Yeah, they brought it back home.
It wasn't a travelogue on this occasion.
Yeah.
Unless you like Bonnie Scotland, which is lovely as you well know.
It's beautiful.
But all the sequences in it, and it's just about the right length. Because some of them, the short one, and then the last one, far too long. But this one was just about, what I call sittable time in the cinema. Because when you start to actually go from one buttock to the other, you think, oh, that's how long this is. And you start looking at your watch, that's when you know, oh, this is actually tedious. This one, I was riveted from start.
Oh yeah, this one is, this is one of the ones I would watch quite a lot. Yeah, I would see this one if it was on, I've got a soft spot for this one.
Yeah, and the plot around M, brilliantly done. And of course, they had to ask her to come back and do it because we're going to really base this film around M. Well, she couldn't say no, could she? Unfortunately, as we all know, when they do go to Skyfall, which is the house in Scotland, because for some reason it seems to come out that Bond was a baronet anyway, or his father was. And they had this great big palatial thing where actually from the front you look at it, it looks like a tarted up council house because they didn't think much of the house, but inside it was, Kincaid is played beautifully because somebody else was going to play it, was it Richard Harris or something like that was going to play it but died, so they got in, what's his name, and of course the old Aston Martin goes through, that poor car.
It does go through the middle.
But of course Q is the beautiful Beneficial who's done many other things. And of course he bats for our team, which is lovely. But I like his geekiness.
Oh, I like the nerdy modern take on Q, because he would be a nerd, wouldn't he? This modern.
Although his sexuality in this particular film is ambiguous.
Oh yeah.
I'm always thinking to myself, well, that, and of course Bond, she's got spots, when they meet in the art gallery, and all that, and of course this particularly likes his Earl Grey tea, and all that sort of thing. I said, oh John, that's going down an avenue I'm quite approachable towards, I like the idea of that avenue. But not great big set pieces.
No, I think this is much more character driven, this one. Certainly with M, I mean the beautiful and very sad ending,
I cried.
Oh yeah,
I'm welling up now thinking about it.
Yeah. And then of course Ralph Fiennes obviously has been in this one. I think he's been in a couple of the others maybe too.
But lower down the pecking order.
Yeah, and then of course, obviously he becomes the new M.
Yeah.
Which he is for the next two.
Yeah, but the last scene with Judi Dench, the sorrow in Bond's eyes as M dies, because she gets shot in the side, doesn't she? By that bastard, whoever it was.
Yeah, Javier. What's his name? The actor Javier. He's a great Bond villain because he's completely out there, and you just think you don't know what he's going to do. Some Bond villains are kind of black and white, villainous, and tough. This guy, he's just a bit out there. I like him. Everything, to me, everything works in this film. Everything works.
Yeah.
I can't fault any of it.
I can't either. No. And to say goodbye to that long-standing, and of course, Judi Dench, you know, I mean, she's worth a bob or two now, good for her.
Yeah.
Now nearly blind, has to have her lines fed to her as well because of her degeneration in her eyesight. And I saw an interview with her, she's, well, you know, she's always on the Graham Norton show and all that, being hilariously funny. And couldn't remember that she said, you know, I've never been to a nightclub before. And Graham Norton's looking and said, yes, you have. No, I haven't, she said. He went, heaven. She went, oh, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Oh, yeah, and I think they might have had a few vodka martinis.
I think so.
But to say goodbye to that particular character for me was very moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, you know, when it comes to the end title sequences, they don't put a title on now, they say Bond will return. And I thought, well, what are we going to get next?
Yes.
You've already said it, and it's called
Spectre.
Mm.
So yeah, this is the organisation. Trying to remember what Spectre stands for. Yep, it's one of those. Is it acronyms?
Yeah. Revenge, extortion, so yeah, all that.
That's
Yeah, I can't remember it
But
either.
Spectre
I
is
should
the
do,
main
we
one.
should do.
We should know these things. Rodian viewers, if you know. But
Bessie
basically,
might know.
um,
I was thinking revenge,
but
extortion.
basically, Spectre has been the kind of main, you know, villains organisation lurking in the background.
Yeah.
All the, I think the people working for Spectre being the lead villains, and then of course in Spectre we get the head honcho, of course, who is
Blofeld.
Blofeld returns.
Oh.
Yeah,
Mm.
and
his
Stavros
pussy?
Blofeld. I think he has got a pussy in this one.
Well, he's been, Blofeld's been killed in so many films before.
Yeah.
You know, he's like a certain program, regenerates. And he came back to this one, and I thought he did a very good job of
Oh,
it.
he was great. A Blofeld for the 21st century.
Yeah. No bald heads.
No.
No. Yeah. But he played it very well, and it's an interesting, the diatribe between Bond and Blofeld in this one is far more serious and deep. Although I think to myself, how they're going to move on from Spectre into and continue, because in this particular Bond film, Blofeld doesn't get killed. He gets captured.
Yes.
Which is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But we'll come on to that in a moment.
Yes.
For me, it was a, you know, nothing like Skyfall.
It had a lot to follow.
It had,
tough act to
and
follow.
to have that big, and for Skyfall to win its first ever Oscar for anything in Bond, which I think that, they should get a long service treatment of more than 170
Yeah,
productions especially. But for me, Spectre, it was a good romp, but by this time of course Bond is so serious. There's one or two little quips and all that, but it's very bloody, it's very violent.
Yeah, there's not much in it at all, is there?
And luckily technology today, the CGI has improved so much that it is terribly difficult to tell if it's real or not real.
Yeah.
But in this one I think they do a very good job.
Oh yeah, visually it's stunning.
It really for me was satisfactorily okay, but you couldn't top Spectre. Skyfall, sorry.
Yes.
But then of course you're thinking to yourself, well, they've captured Blofeld, so hold on.
Yeah.
So
What's going to happen
then
next?
we suffer something worldwide, and it's called COVID.
Yes, which delayed the next one.
Yeah. COVID-19 started in 2019, of course, and we had to wait a terribly long time. And yet again, that bloody word comes being die. Yeah. Oh, no. But I suppose it does fit this particular film. No Time to Die.
Yeah.
Of course, I went to the cinema to see it.
Yeah.
And the one good thing about this film, but it's too long, is using music from Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh, yes,
and all that.
yes,
There's
yes.
lots of that coming
Lots of
in.
nods to
And little quips and all that, which actually are taken directly from all the previous films of note.
Yes.
And it was too long.
Oh, it was ridiculously long. I mean, they should have renamed it No Time to Watch This Film. But I think also Bond, he goes into hiding. He wants the world to think he's dead. So he's just getting drunk in a bar. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
But basically he comes back, and of course he's got a relationship, he's got a kid as well. Spoilers. So
but at the start of it, we don't know it is his kid.
Yeah, we don't. But this over 3 hours we find out.
Exactly, I think the penny drops. Doesn't it?
But I mean, for a long film, no, it just leaves me a bit.
It's in my category of buttock moving because I've got and then you start God, what's going on? And you know when it started, it's 3 hours long, so you start looking at your watch and saying, so that was, you know. And in the old days, of course, we used to have intermissions. This one should have had an intermission.
Yeah.
You know, it was so long.
You could have been there and they're selling ice cream.
Yeah, you could have got them to turn. You could have been coming out the floor with your organ.
Yeah. Well, they used to.
Goodness me.
There's a thought, isn't there?
You could have been Mr. Whippy or Miss Whippy.
Yeah, Miss Whippy.
Yeah, could be straight out with their lines made.
There's a website for that, you know.
Yeah.
But, of course, what do they do at the end of this film?
Well, this actually was a surprise to me. He's on an island, and the whole of the genetic transmitting transponder system has broken down. They can't get him out. London can't get him out. No one is near enough to get Bond out, and to destroy it. It has to be done because it's all rods going into this water and all. I think with this one, of course, Blofeld is back as a prisoner, and by this time he is totally psychotic. And it really reminded me of Silence of the Lambs, because he's in a cubicle, isn't he?
Yeah.
But that, you know, the same actor, beautifully done, so over the top on this one because he was quite normal in the previous one, Inspector. This one, but of course, Bond has nowhere to go.
No.
There is no helicopter or submarine or anything to get him out. And these cluster-busting missiles are sent, and they're trying to get him out. They're shouting down, you know, I can't remember if you can hear them. Bond, get out, Bond, you know, you've got 10 minutes, and so the 10 minutes on this film seems to go on forever and ever and ever. Because normally I would say, you've got 3 minutes, certainly in a certain programme, we've only got 4 minutes. And the old time clock seems to really slow down, and they get 10 minutes out of it. On this occasion it was like that. And of course what happens?
Gets deaded.
There's a huge explosion, and it's the back of Bond, played by dear Craig, and he seems to just evaporate.
Yeah.
But
yes.
you're going, well, that's it now.
Yeah.
I said, that's that over and done with.
And then of course what do you get on the closing credits?
Bond will return.
Yeah. It's like, wow. How does he do it?
I don't know.
I mean, he must be eating all his vitamins.
Well, perhaps actually he is a Time Lord.
Maybe he is.
Because like certain other programs we love, there's always that thing, isn't there? You think, oh, somebody's changed, you know, we've got so many different Bonds over, I mean, we've done the whole lot now. You know, even with the funny bits, I mean, there's one, Roger Moore played James Bond before he was James Bond in a Millicent Martin show.
Yeah,
which I think I've sent to Steve, which is quite hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's unbelievable to think he could have done Bond then because he was the same.
Yeah.
And then you have all these changes of your lead, even if it would be M, Q, Money Penny, Money Spider, Betty Swallows, whatever, and all these other, you know, Blofelds. I mean, there's been about 4 or 5 different Blofelds.
And lighters, Felix lighters.
Felix lighters.
Tons of lighters.
On one occasion, I don't think Felix Leiter watched because he was black. He actually turned into a different character completely, but was called Felix Leiter. But mind you, are they the really, you know, is it just names that are given?
Maybe.
So I'm thinking to myself with Bond, you know, because in No Time to Die, Bond loses 00 number. He's no longer 007, and there's another 007, which is a lady. Yeah.
But if he's not the same person, why does the Roger Moore Bond go to visit the grave of Tracy? Because when he was married to her, briefly, he looked like
I suppose the producers thought at the time it'd be nice to resurrect that, you know, you never know.
I think the best thing to do is not think of it too
director, I
too
guess,
deeply.
You know, you can forgive all that.
You can forgive
you know, how did when you only tries this frail old man, as Bloker by Donald Pleasance, turn into the brute of Telly Savalas? And how did Telly Savalas turn into the campus bloke in Charles Gray? You know, is it just, you know, is it a title handed on?
Yeah.
Whatever. And there have been many, they've all
And the
been...
cat, she changed a few times. Yeah.
Who?
The cat.
Pussy.
The pussy was
Well,
different.
look.
Look, there's a new iteration.
This is the new cat for Bond.
Yeah.
We're not going to, what we're going to, I don't know what we're going to call you, probably K9. There's a clue. We will go on another time, I think, but for me, this period that we've done over the last 3 programmes, for me, I've thoroughly enjoyed absolutely every minute of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so glad, because I, like you, I'm a completist. I want to see start to finish.
Oh, yes.
Leaving it halfway through.
Yeah.
Okay, that would stand on its own. But I think being able to discuss the changes of Bond, all its characters, I sometimes wonder what the hell Ian Fleming would think now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, seriously, what have they done to my character? He'd probably say.
Well, he never wanted Sean
No,
Connery
he
to play
didn't.
Bond.
He didn't. But I think
Totally
look
wrong,
at
he said.
No Time to Die and probably just think, no, don't want that, because there's so many things in that I think he would just not want.
You know, but the nuances going back, the little bits of, you know, music.
Oh, there's enough to keep
and
me
I'm going,
interested, but-
and even 1 or 2 of the lines, and my husband was sitting next to me, and I say, well, that's from Goldfinger. Well, that's from Russia Roulette. Oh, that's from Diamonds Are Forever. And I was going through them, and when you got to the later ones, I don't think they used the real natural, what I call natural Bonds, up to, I think, Timothy Dalton. I think Pierce Brosnan, GoldenEye, yeah. After that, it was a bit of a mixed match.
Yeah.
Skyfall shines.
Oh, Skyfall was like a kind of, this is what it's all about, this is where it should be, this is what I've been missing.
Yeah.
Easily the best one of Daniel Craig's era. Easily. And I think Casino Royale close second, very close, because I love it.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I can take or leave.
You know, but with Casino Royale, of course, the fact is people will remember the one my dear friend was involved in, and probably think, well, how are they going to, James Bond going to turn into this psychedelic here? Because that was basically how Austin Powers became that particular.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but for me, I love Bond. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to go. Of course, the Broccoli's have given it up. They've sold it on. I'm sure that they have involvement in the next week because Amazon Plus have taken it on. So God knows what we're going to have from Bond in the future. But like many things, they tried to do it. I'm going to say they tried to get rid of Doctor Who. I've said it now, but that came back, and it's many guises, as we know, some good and some bad.
Yeah.
Bond will do the same.
Oh, yeah.
Bond is intrinsic to, I think, the British nature and of understanding really good drama. And of course, what makes me very happy about it is not so much on Her Majesty's Secret Service, it's British, and we're proud of it. Although it has a Scottish lilt to it.
It has a Scottish lilt.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed yourself, Miss Bunny Spider?
Yes, I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I love people like you and like this young man here, Miss Bond, Mr. Bond.
Well, that's
Stuart.
very kind of you to say, Miss Money Spider.
Have you noticed he hasn't shaved again? Could have shaved.
I've got to keep the beard for a part. Yeah. This is
I've
for
got
a
to keep the
part.
beard for the park.
Yeah, I know.
She's some sort of actress.
Bloody actor.
So have you enjoyed it?
I've loved it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's good. Then
James
of course.
Bond represents a lot of escapism, like Doctor Who, Star Trek. I'm a sucker for a big franchise anyway, and I've been a Bond fan.
Oh, we did a
since I
programme
was
recently,
16.
didn't we, where we were discussing all those things that we absolutely love. Some of which, because you were not old enough, and have now caught up with from the 70s.
Oh, yes.
But for me, Bond has always been a great part of my life, and I'm sure it is yours too. So I'd like to thank both my lovely guest, the Betty Swarricks, also Miss Money Spider, of course, James Bond, or is it Jane Bond?
Jane.
It's definitely
Probably could
James.
be-
My middle name's James.
Is it?
Well, there you are then.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a lovely Stuart, of course, who has now done more than, apart from Betty, Marc and Chums than I think I've done. On that, thank you to my darling director, Stephen,
Thank you, Steve.
South Africa, who always comes through. And on this occasion, I'm going to do something he's not going to like. He probably won't even use this, but his last film has just won another award. And Betty and I appear in that one too. Unfortunately, Stuart couldn't, so well done, Stephen. And of course, oh, he's gone. My chief researcher and scientist, of course, Little Steve.
Thank you.
So on that note, thank you very much. Thank you too.
Thank you.
And here to the continuation of Bond, James Bond.
Thank you.